Broadcasting live from the Phoenix Business RadioX studio in Tempe, Arizona. You are tuning in to Culture Crush with Kendra Maples. This podcast will dive into a variety of companies that are crushing it with a great company culture.
Hey there, we are back for another episode of Culture Crush, where we highlight what makes a great company culture and how it affects the overall success of a company. Culture is not just a tag word to be thrown around. It's not something you throw into a job description to try and draw people to applying for a job with the company. It's deeper, and it can make or break a company in most cases. On this podcast, we talk with company leaders to learn about real-life experiences, tips, best practices for creating a healthy work environment. And today, I'm very excited to have the four of you on. We have a full house today, so it's going to be like a big coffee chat of all of us chiming in and probably stepping on each other, which is totally fine. So I am very excited to have a few companies to highlight today. We've got two lovely ladies from Petsmart. We have Lauren Givens and Danny Kaufman. Hi, ladies.
Hi there.
Hi.
And then we've got two individuals. I'm going to have you guys explain the company and how it's kind of split in a moment. But we have Jennifer Villalobos and we have Justin Hodge with Muscular Moving Men and Storage.
Hey,
welcome,
Kendra.
you guys. Yay. Awesome. Well, I am so excited to have you guys on today. We have a full house, but I really still want to, take the time to highlight both companies. It's kind of three companies, really. And I actually have, because I figured, well, we'll see what happens. It's Petsmart. So I do have both of my dogs in the room right now. So we'll see if they chime in. I'm crossing fingers that they don't. Oh, Danny has hers. I love it.
Right on my lap.
Oh, and there's Alfie.
Lauren's got hers as well.
I don't know what they're going to do when we go back to work.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
I love it. It's fitting for our Petsmart girls to have the dogs. And that's why I figure, okay, let's have the dogs in the room today. Let's see how they chime in, because they definitely are used to me being around the house. And I'm remote today, just like you guys. So let's jump in. Let's dive in. I am so excited. Both of these companies are very different, right? We've got that moving side, a smaller but really growing faster company. Justin, you guys are doing awesome. And then ladies, with Petsmart, everybody knows Petsmart, right? But still, the common denominator between these companies is they're companies that have a great culture. And maybe Petsmart is known for their good culture a little more, but that's the point of this podcast, is to highlight the companies that are doing great and have an amazing culture, and highlight the ones that maybe everybody doesn't know about either. So what I want to do, I want to start with Lauren and Danny. However you guys want to tackle this, I do want to hear about you guys individually, but I want to hear about Petsmart. Kind of your roles, and then I'm going to jump over to Jennifer and Justin next.
Danny, take it away.
Oh, here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Danny Kaufman, and I'm the manager of Talent Acquisition Operations and Employment Brand. I have been with Petsmart for 5.5 years now. The first two of those were in talent acquisition. So I was a recruiter for Petsmart's creative marketing teams, buying teams, things like that. I started spending a lot of time with great creative and marketing professionals across the country. And it kind of took me a second to be like, we can apply these same marketing, these same customer attraction tactics to attract candidates as well. So that's how I transitioned over to recruitment marketing. And then for the past 3 years, my team and I have worked to really create and magnify Petsmart's culture externally facing. So that way candidates and people who are interested in working for Petsmart get to actually see the work and the culture that Lauren and I get to experience every day.
I love that. Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lauren Givens, Manager of Emerging Talent here at Petsmart. Been with the company for just 4 years. I'm originally from the Midwest. So as we get to talking and I start saying a bag, you'll understand I am not from Arizona originally. Danny will probably call me out. So Oh yeah, she will. Over 9 years of progressive and strategic experience, really in that learning, leadership, and talent development space. Been in retail pretty much my entire career. Very excited. Received both my bachelor's and my master's in communication from UW Milwaukee. Right now in talent acquisition, right? So talked a little bit about learning development and talent development really being my background. 3 years ago, came into this role to really rebuild our emerging talent brand with Petsmart. So responsible for the end-to-end early career talent recruitment process. And that begins with development of our recruitment strategy, designing and developing the program content, execution of any of those non-traditional recruitment strategies, and then new hire onboarding for early career talent. I partner a lot with Danny. It's a great organization to work for. So it's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Justin, I'm going to hop over to you. I want to hear a little bit about you. And then if you can also kind of talk about the parts of the company, because then that leads into Jennifer over there as well.
Sure. So my name is Justin Hodge. I'm one of the co-founders of Muscular Moving Men in Storage. We started our company in 2008. So we're 12 or 13 years in, which sounds really crazy to say, but we started a moving company here locally in Phoenix. My business partner, Josh, and I are both locally born and raised here in Scottsdale in Phoenix, met at the Boys and Girls Club 25 plus years ago. Had a crazy idea to start a moving company. And, in that time, we've definitely grown leaps and bounds. So originally started just with the two of us doing moves with a truck and trailer, started buying trucks and adding team members. So recruiting is definitely something that we're heavy on. We need to continue to do. We've grown to about 85 employees now, all in between, the various different companies. You mentioned that we've branched off a little bit, and Jennifer will be able to dive into some of that. But Muscular Moving Men was really the original base and foundation of the company. And, since then, we've added M3 Commercial Moving and Logistics, which Jennifer is a big part of, and also M3 Junk Removal. So these, little ancillary businesses that have really built off of the foundation, which is our primary moving company. So we do residential, commercial, local and long distance moving. We've done things as small as just a 1-bedroom or 1-room office move. And we've done things as big as managing the logistics for the XFL football league for the whole country, and moving businesses as large as UTI, which was 600 plus seats not too long ago. So there's really no big move that's too big or too small. And that's kind of our story.
Awesome. I love that. And then Jennifer, you want to kind of tell us about you and then explain kind of that other M3 part that you do.
For sure. So my name is Jennifer Villalobos, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Business Development for M3 Commercial Moving Logistics and Muscular Moving Men in Storage. And I was actually really brought onto the team to kind of help create that brand awareness and, like I said, marketing for M3 Commercial Moving and Logistics. And through that, the opportunity also arose to kind of help create that awareness for the muscular side. So it's been extremely exciting. We actually started M3 Commercial back in February of 2019. So we're going on 2 years, this 2021. And that's pretty much when I was brought onto the team. So just to kind of add on to that growth, and through that now we're growing and we're adding junk removal. So it's been extremely exciting, and it's been one of the best careers I've had thus far.
I love that. So one of the things that all of you kind of mentioned is that recruiting side, and that is, to me, the first opportunity, right, to start to really develop the culture is before you even bring anybody on board. You're looking to see before they join your team, do they even fit the culture? And then bringing them into that is filling them in on the culture that you have and how it's a good culture. And it goes, maybe beyond that. We have our dogs around. We love that, but it goes beyond that, right? And anybody can tackle this question, or I'll just pick you. But I really want to know more on that recruiting side with you guys. Like, what does that look like when you are searching for the right person? Are there particular things that you're looking for to make sure that they're going to be a right fit with your culture? And then, we can move into the next step. When you're starting with them, what does that onboarding look like? This is a little bit of what I want to dive in with you guys. Is there anyone that wants to take it first?
I just I'll showcase a little bit about my experience as I was going through my recruiting with Muscular Movement and M3. And this is kind of what I've taken on as I grow my team is I really ask people to kind of come into our office and try to showcase the amazing culture through walking them through the office. I think what I love so much about Muscular Moving Men is that they genuinely surround themselves around health and wellness. And for someone like myself that used to bodybuild, coming into an environment that just, really pushes, healthy living and smoke-free environment. And then as I'm walking through this office, I'm seeing all these great awards. And then you go into the warehouse, there's literally a gym. And I was just like, whoa, like I'm so excited right now. But it really just kind of connects you to saying like, these guys are legit. They're actually about health and wellness. Like it's not just something that they put up on the wall and they say they're muscular moving men. And then you meet Justin and Josh who are super buff. And it's like, all right, I'm in. So as I go on and hire people, I always like to bring them to the office to showcase and really just show them. We have a wall up in the office where we really, every year we take a picture of our team to show that growth. And you just see the team from where Justin and Josh literally moved their first home up into the amazing large team we have now. So I think that really resonates with a lot of people as we're doing our interviews.
So if somebody is not on the health and fitness train, does that mean that they're maybe not the best fit? Or is that something that you look at as like, well, this is part of our culture of, being healthy and fit? What do you?
I'll jump in there. So for us, obviously moving strength is a little different than gym strength. Is everybody that works there a bodybuilder? No, not necessarily. Pretty amazing transformation stories. We've been excited to have those things featured in local news, and we've had people, change their lives. So Jennifer talked about the fact that we're a smoke-free company, which is 100% true. So we've had individuals that have been down on their luck. They've either, been homeless at the time. They have made some bad choices. We're big on giving people second chances. And so when you talk to people 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the road, they've had a big weight loss. They've decided to quit smoking. They've been able to get themselves a home. So it feels pretty awesome to have, 1,000 or more former employees be with our company at one point or another. So is everybody a bodybuilder? No, not necessarily. Is my business partner a former Mr. Arizona? Yeah. Is it hard to those expectations? Yeah, it is. It keeps you sharp. It makes you want to go work out. Like Jennifer said, we've got a gym there, which we love. And so culture is huge for us. It's a big recruiting tool. Moving furniture and having a moving company, they're all kind of a dime a dozen. But when you can have something that sets you apart, and culture is really it for us. You just can't put your finger on it. The guys really love to be able to be in that environment.
And I love that you said that culture is really one of the things that, sets you guys apart. And Jennifer and I had the chance to touch base the other week, and this isn't something that's common of most moving companies. You don't really have that culture of that family, health and fitness kind of atmosphere. We had Ken Smirch, the CEO of a company called Zealous, on a few months ago, and it's a construction company, and it was another one of those unique companies to be able to highlight because, again, that's not really something you think of as, a highlight and, a point for these companies is, oh, we have a great culture. It's a construction company. So I love that you guys are building that into the company growth, especially right from the beginning when it comes to, the recruiting of things. I love that.
100%. Can agree. It's a huge part of it.
Ladies, what about you guys with Petsmart? How does that look as far as when, you're starting to bring people in? Jennifer said that right off the bat, she was hooked. She said, oh my gosh, it was so great to be part of that family, that culture. How do you guys do that with your recruitment strategy? How do you have them connected?
We have puppies. I don't know about this.
You guys are cheating.
And kittens and bearded dragons and
fish
and yes, have you seen the guinea pig Halloween costume? I mean, come on. Danny, go ahead, take it from a Life at Petsmart perspective, and I'll jump in and chime in where I have opinions. We know I've got them.
Where I have opinions, I'll just let you go right now.
Right.
No, I think culture is really natural for us, and I think that's very rare to say in a company. I think our core value, our mission is that we're passionate about pets, and out of the hundreds of other places you could work or retailers that you could work, almost everyone makes an active choice to work here because of the pets. And so it's a really unique place. I know in my background prior to this, I didn't necessarily have a deep connection to the company I was working for. But what's unique is that you can have a connection to the job that you're doing and the company that you're doing it for, which I think, provides that sense of value and purpose when we are talking to candidates. It's not, when we interview someone, it's not just you have this experience, can you do A, B, and C? It's what's important to you. Do you have any pets? We kind of have welcome packages for people and for pets because that's how important it is. One of the things that I used to say is, I'm a recruiter. A good recruiter could essentially work anywhere. I could work for a company that sells light bulbs, but I wouldn't be passionate about light bulbs. And so it's a really unique opportunity, and we all share that same fundamental passion. So the culture just kind of naturally exists, and we build upon it from there.
Yeah. In addition, here we go. See, in addition to that, I would say, when you think about, Kendra, you said, a culture fit, right? And we don't, at PetSmart, it's not about a culture fit, but a culture add. And so we've really been changing the paradigm on how we talk about culture at PetSmart. From a belonging perspective, we want someone to be able to come in and be their authentic selves. And by being an addition to the team, that means, you don't have to fit. You do have to have a passion for pets and people, right? We are PetSmart. But that doesn't mean that you need to be exactly like the next person, right? We're looking for those people who are a little outside, who can, think differently, difference in thought, difference in everything that they're doing. We have associate resource groups that support all of the great stuff we do from a culture perspective. I think some of the things that I like to share stories with our candidates, right? And so every time I think about culture, like what's culture like, and I'll just start sharing stories, right? And one of the stories that sticks with me is around the openness at PetSmart and being authentic. And I think it was Danny, maybe September, October of last year, we had a panel of associates from our Pride at Work associate resource group, and 4 or 5 of them that, took a lot of vulnerability to be able to share their coming out stories with us, right? And so for individuals who wanted to be allies and just support what was going on, or listen and hear and educate themselves, we get to learn so much from our other associates. If we wouldn't bring individuals like that into an organization, we wouldn't be adding this phenomenal culture that we do have. So I love to share the stories like that around really being authentic as an organization as well.
I like that. And I like that you're kind of changing the verbiage and calling it a culture add, because it allows you to also look outside the box a little bit, right? And instead of finding someone that's that perfect fit, well, you find someone that adds a little bit of uniqueness and a little bit of diversity. So for you guys, maybe it's somebody who doesn't have a dog at home and you bring them into your team. What about still kind of part of that, recruiting process, that onboard process, is there anything that's unique about your two companies when it comes to bringing folks on that might not be, something that people would expect? And what I'm thinking in the back of my head when I ask this is, Jennifer, when you and I talked, you mentioned to me that the employees are all full-time. And that, to me, that says a lot about the company, with it being a moving company, right? You're committing to your staff. You're committing to those employees. is there anything else that you guys can highlight about, the uniqueness bringing people into the company and the culture?
I'd also like to add to that is not only do we commit to bringing on full-time employees, I think that also creates the opportunity to have great quality within our organization as we're doing moves, but also we're a very diverse organization. Never in my life did I think I was going to be working for a moving company. Like, there's certain careers that you look at, you're like, oh, that's very heavily male dominant. We have female movers within our team, and we have female people within our marketing team and our office. So really just showing that diverseness within this industry that is very heavily male dominant, I think also kind of sets us apart within our organization. And you see us and we're out there kicking butt. So, it's just really awesome that Justin and Josh have done an amazing job to really push diversity and create this amazing, very welcoming type of culture within our office as well.
Justin, is that something that you had intention in when you guys started this, 12, 13 years ago? Were you just kind of bringing on whoever, or did you have intention with, we want to make sure we're growing this company in the right direction, bring in some culture, add some diversity?
No, it was not definitely. There was no playbook, Kendra. I mean, we were figuring out which way the dolly was supposed to be turned to get the furniture into the truck correctly. And I think my bandwidth is a little bit low, so if I'm choppy, sorry guys. But to answer your question, no, there was no conscious decision. We were thrilled. We had a company that was growing as much as it was. Like I said, we started the truck and trailer, and we came a long way to get where we are now. We're a charitable company. We love to be able to give back to our community. Jennifer mentioned some of the awards we've won, which we're excited about. Actually, December 4th was Muscular Moving Men Day, so I'm sure the whole Petsmart team celebrated that. The whole state of Arizona.
How did you know, Justin?
Day in the state of Arizona. We won the Innovation Award from Phoenix Business Journal. We were Inc. 5000, one of the fastest growing businesses. So I think that stuff just comes because you're doing the right thing. You're not necessarily making a conscious decision to try to add certain team members to, be politically correct or to try to do things that you think someone else would try to do to guide the company the right way. We just instinctively have a feel, I think, for that. And we feel like we're really just getting started. It's exciting to know that, we will be a nationwide brand. We took a turn down that road last year, and we decided that it wasn't a right fit at the time. But I think we've learned more from, failures than we have from success. And it's been a string of failures here and there. And it really makes you sharper as a company, as an individual. And having somebody that shares that vision with you is really, really important. And we're able to put that to the rest of our team. So if you go into our building, the core values are right on the wall. They hit you right in the face. It's the 6-pack of core values, like on your stomach, Kendra, not like the kind that. So for us, it's QFRAC, quality, financial efficiency, respect, advancement, culture, and customer experience. And if you don't know that as a team member, you're going to have to go down and give some push-ups to make up for that. So they're not just words on a wall to us. It's what Josh and I originally lived by. And it's what, Jennifer continues to tell all the folks that are, awesome enough to give us an opportunity to work with their clients, is that's what we believe in. We're totally different than any moving company out there. We're mover athletes, not just movers. So we feel great about being drastically different than our competition and growing it the way that we have.
That's awesome. And you guys are successful in that. I mean, like you said, you're getting awards, you're being put in rankings. You guys are obviously making, your own space and to be able to grow, which obviously you're doing something right in there, Joe. My lady with Petsmart. So what about with Petsmart? So same question, kind of what is there that's maybe unique or, part of that process of bringing people on that really is helping Petsmart grow? Because obviously we all know Petsmart. We know that it's, the top company out there for pets. And so what's the stuff that you guys can give us maybe the inside look at?
I think one of the things that we've really been focusing on is it's one thing to show that Petsmart is a great place to work from a corporate perspective. But it's another thing that we've been trying to do is to have our associates be able to speak to it. When you think of people that you know and connect and have worked at similar places, have similar education, or look like you, whatever the case is, we use the hashtag, can't see my hand, life at Petsmart. And we've really encouraged our associates to be able to talk about what life at Petsmart looks like for them. So whether that's on social media, on LinkedIn, whatever the case is, we encourage our associates to be able to tell their stories. So whether it's a great event that happened at work or your anniversary or your dog's birthday, which is like real things that we celebrate, we encourage everyone to use that hashtag life at PetSmart. So hopefully, we have over 1,400 associates in our home office, and we're all working virtually. We have 55,000 associates that work across the store in DC. So it's very easy to feel disconnected, but by encouraging everyone to use the same hashtag, it's fun to be able to see that there are associates in DC in Pennsylvania that still have their life at PetSmart and what that looks like, and how at the end of the day, our jobs are different, but our lives and our core value can still be the same.
And you mentioned that you guys are remote right now. So obviously that's a question I want to kind of dive into as well. What does that look like for you guys as far as for a lot of the, the roles that are corporate and whatnot? You're not in the office anymore. You're not surrounded by all the animals and the cats and the puppies. Now people are isolated at their house. What does that look like, and how has that maybe changed the culture at all? Or what are you doing to keep that culture?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely take a piece of that, right? I would say that our leadership team is fully committed to making sure that every associate is feeling supported, right? I'll use the word unprecedented times. We did what was right for our associates when we had to do what was right for them. And the safety of our associates was our number one priority. And so, us coming home and working remotely, obviously not a permanent thing, something that we will eventually be going back to the home office. We've shown that obviously we can trailblaze and we can get shit done at the end of the day, still being remote. And so that's a good opportunity for us to really show what we can still be doing. It's hard though, because Danny said 55,000 associates, 1,400 home office associates. Every associate is going to have the same situation. I've got 2 small children. Danny has no kids, right? And so me going back to work looks a little different than Danny going back to work. And that's not a bad thing. It's the great part about our organization, and when we talk about culture, is that our leaders are having that conversation at the top, right? And they're saying, it's going to be a phased approach. Things will look a little bit differently when we go back, but from a safety perspective, and when we put our passion for people first, that's really where we want to target our priorities. Is that our associates are our first priority, and the safety of them comes before anybody. So, yeah, it looks a little bit different, but we're getting it done at the end of the day. So.
I will say one of my favorite things about being able to work remotely is the amount of times I get to see Lauren's aforementioned small children on the screen. Her daughter Marley will be sitting on her lap, and she'll have her dog Abe, and it's just like a family environment via Zoom. And so that's fun to still stay connected, even if we're not physically in the office.
I think there's
like
a little
I'm
bit more
connected with so many people and seeing their houses and their kids and their dogs during all of this. And now it's just like a normal thing.
Yeah, we joke. We're like, will makeup even be necessary? Like after COVID, like you've all seen the top, like you can't see me now, right? But like the top knot, right? That's like my go-to with the sweatshirt or a hoodie. And, once I go back to the office, what will be the purpose of me not wearing that anymore? So we make jokes. It's all in good fun. But we do really bring out our authentic selves every day at work here.
I wore earrings for you guys today.
I appreciate that. I mean, I did a couple curls for you all. You're welcome. Justin, did you curl your hair for us today too? I don't know.
Yeah, Justin slicked his hair to the side today for us.
I like it. For Jennifer and Justin, how have things changed during all of this? for you guys as far as any changes, precautions, shift in models? What has changed with you guys during all of this?
Very, very little. Everything's been so smooth, no issues. So fantastic. I mean, geez. I mean, we always knew 12 years in there was going to be a pandemic, and we just totally planned for this thing every step of the way. So kudos. No, I mean, things obviously were insane. It was crazy. March, April. I mean, we had 150 or more cancellations across the board. So whether it was a commercial job or, a contract for a football league that just stopped completely in its tracks, or people that just did not know what to do and their houses were about to be put on the market. Do I sell? Do I not? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So there was this major stoppage of business and everybody just was kind of staring at each other. Well, what's going to happen now? So we implemented a ton of new policies, procedures. We were obviously deemed essential, which was huge for us. We took measures to wear face protection, sanitizing trucks and equipment. We got featured in the Phoenix Business Journal, which was awesome. They came on site and they documented our whole procedure. So, I mean, we had this military-like operation of check-in and check-out when crew members arrived. We didn't let anybody inside the building. They would go around the side. The level of detail, and not only that, but making our customers, I think, responsible and holding them accountable too, and having them answer questionnaires. It kept the next family safe that we were going to move, and we would have to turn down a move if somebody said, yes, I've tested positive for COVID in the last week or so. So, I mean, those kinds of measures, I think, were the reason that we came back as strong as we did. And October was the biggest month we've ever had in 12 years. So November behind it, and I think that, it's going to continue. So I'm excited about where we're at in terms of being in Arizona, being as strict on the policies as we have been. And, just another challenge that we have to overcome. And obviously running your own business, it comes with things that you just would never expect as early on as we did. But who knows what 2021 is going to bring? I guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, and I just have to add to Justin is we definitely had to put things together when we really didn't, again, as many of us didn't really understand this virus. And we're like, hey, we're doing what we think is the safest and the most, what we think is the right thing to do for our community. And I think with that too, I think at the beginning, COVID kind of impacted our culture because we did have to become very military. And it was just like, we're checking, go around. So we had to come up with ideas to make it feel that we were one big company again and that we cared and we supported. So we really went out of our ways, as, our team was checking in the mornings to hand out Gatorades with these little, stickers on you rock, we appreciate you, hang in there. We were hanging out, handing out protein bars and playing live music, just to make it feel again that culture of typically our guys come into our gym before they work out or before they go off to their jobs, and everyone's working out in the warehouse, and that was all removed from what created that company culture. So we had to get crafty and figure out ways to still do it while remaining safe and keeping our employees safe as well.
That you thinking of these ideas, or was it kind of a combination? Where do these ideas even come from? Because definitely, like you said, we had no idea.
Yeah, I think it was just
all Jennifer, right from Jennifer's brain.
I don't know. I just we just got to do something because I could feel it. And obviously everyone was impacted in different ways. And it was just, how do we bring that back to make it feel like we care and we're here despite it maybe feeling like we're not, because now we're scanning everybody and we're having everyone sign papers. And, we had to bring back that sense of family to our organization.
You know what? I think the guys were just thrilled to be able to have their job, be able to continue to provide for their family. That what you guys need, everybody just completely bought into whatever. I mean, we're not a huge company. I mean, 80 plus people is a good amount of people. And it is absolute. It's nuts. It's 7 o'clock every morning. There's almost 90, men and women figuring out what move, storage, pack job they're going to do for the day. And operations is putting this chessboard together of pieces. And when you throw into the mix, we now potentially, if anybody were to test positive, they can't come in and they're down for 7 to 10 days. Your crews are so strapped as it is, and these guys work their ass off on a daily basis that they have to pick up the slack. So I think they were really excited that they could continue to provide for their families. They totally bought into whatever was expected of them. They wanted to continue to work. We were able to stay essential and continue to work. So I think everybody just really had that whatever it takes mentality to get it done.
Well, and I think there's a lot to say with, you said that you were holding your customers accountable, that's huge. And that shows part of that culture for you guys is still holding the customers accountable so that you can continue to keep your staff safe and everybody else, after that move safe. That is, I feel like it's a piece that people don't connect with culture. We always talk about culture internally for a company, but really that culture expands out to who are the other stakeholders that are involved, and it's the customer. So I love that you mentioned that you have to hold everybody accountable in this, and you're all in it together.
Exactly.
With Lauren and Danny, so with Petsmart, did you see any shifts? I mean, it's different with, some of those folks being home, and in the office, you just shift to being at your house, right? But what about any changes with the staff that's actually in the stores, right? And some of that perspective. Was there anything that changed that you just kind of roll with and tackle with to get it done?
How much time do we have?
I mean,
Danny,
could do
go
a part
ahead.
2 another day.
Danny, go ahead. I know from a recruitment standpoint, you have a lot of accountability. Oh, there's a dog. Sorry, we're going on the dog. For all of you that know, there's a dog on board.
Sorry to interrupt, Lauren. I just wanted to show you that Muscular Moving Men and M3 Commercials
also love pets. I like it. Yeah, I see your 8-pound dog on your lap.
Just to correct that, Lauren, he's actually 4 pounds. Huey is a ferocious beast. He keeps our home.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you, Alfie's about 8. Same. You'd think he's 900 pounds. I love it. Perfect. What a cutie.
I'm so glad he's here.
Muscular men still loving their life at Petsmart too.
Absolutely.
Well, Danny, I'll let you kind of tackle that question first, though. From what changed and what did we have to do differently?
I think it's kind of twofold. I can speak to the store and the DC environment. So we too were deemed essential because of the services and products that we offer to pets and pet parents. So that was really important to us to be able to still be there to provide guidance, support, advice, a whole lot of extra toys and treats to get people through this. And so we pretty quickly also adopted face masks, sanitary. We put plexiglass up. I think one of the unique things that we did try to share is we've always had sanitization and safety as our top priority because we work with pets so frequently. So it was nice. We definitely stepped it up a notch, but we had a very solid foundation to work from. And then, of course, masks and things like that. There are some of our pet care associates who, had come in, even if stores might have been closed for a little bit, to make sure all the pets were getting taken care of. So it's been just a really great time to see our associates come together. And then I think too, kind of touching on Lauren's world and even in person, when you think of campus recruiting or emerging talent, what does that look like when you can't go to schools? How are you able to entice students and give them a perspective of what it's like to work here when we can't show them? So credit to Lauren and her team for being able to take that transition. Our internships were virtual, our experience was virtual, and making it the best that we can given the circumstances.
Yeah, our team really believes in early career talent. So I'm very fortunate to be able to, leverage the brand, the ambassadors that Danny was talking about. We get to share stories. I think Justin kind of touched on this a little bit in regards to their culture. And to me, it sounded like, you just get to share the good stuff that you're doing. And that's what makes the culture great. And it's a lot easier to talk about culture from the perspective of, this is just what I'm excited about and the things that I'm doing. And I was so proud of our team. This year we did have to cancel our internship program, which is an integral part of our early career talent pipelining. But our leaders fully supported what we call the summer experience. And through that, we were able to have and engage hundreds and hundreds of students across the US, not just here in Phoenix. We had our president and CEO, J.K. Samancic, doing a lunch and learn with students. It's not often that you get to sit down with an hour with the CEO of a company virtually and have a conversation with him. And he was open and willing to do that, given these times. And, our EVPs and SVPs, all the way down, everyone was like, yeah, let's jump on board. And it was so successful. Well, we're actually going to be branding it and doing it year over year as an opportunity for students to get involved early on, learn more leadership skills, business skills, and opportunities, and to really help break down that barrier that retail is not just a retail store. There's a lot more careers in retail. We've got merchandising, proprietary brands. If you think of like a unique career at Petsmart, all of our private label brands, you need someone to design that. You need someone within our food space, food scientists, right, to understand what goes into making that dog food and making it safe and healthy for your pet. And then how do you package it and promote it and push it out? So there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of unique career opportunities that come from it. And it was a great way for us to be able to showcase all of the really great work and opportunities that we do at PetSmart.
And I'm glad you ended with that because you're showcasing, some of the amazing things that you guys are doing. And that's one thing that I do really want to highlight about both these companies. So both your companies, you guys are doing other things outside of just, making the business run. You're doing things in the community. You're doing charitable things in the back end. So I want to take the opportunity to highlight that with these companies too. So whoever wants to kind of tackle it first, I just want to hear, because I feel like that's really what helps grow culture is if you're doing good, right? You're making profit and then you're doing good and you're supporting your community. So I want to hear from, all sides. So whoever wants to tackle that. So
I think for me, being that we are a local business, and as Justin had mentioned, we're always trying to support our community that has helped create such success. We both, Justin does, myself, we sit in a couple boards within here in the Valley for different organizations where one, we can stay top of mind of how we can help out our diversity, our community. I actually sit in a couple on a Latinos Against Cancer and a Native American board as well, just to support the different communities within the Valley. I'll let Justin kind of speak to what he's doing, but I know that he's with EC 70, which helped many different organizations too, and just kind of give back. And one of the really exciting things with our M3 junk removal division is actually that our main goal and purpose is going to be to actually donate first. So we are a junk company, but with the priority of donating first and then recycling and then disposing. So again, giving pride to work and create those charity partners alongside UMOM, St. Vincent de Paul, just finding places that we can take these, what one would consider junk, and it actually becomes a treasure for someone else, especially a family that's in need. So it's been really exciting to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Statistically, they say moving is like the third most traumatic day in a person's life behind divorce and losing a loved one. And actually, some of those could all be happening simultaneously on the day. So you realize early on, especially when we started the company in 2008, it was some of the worst moving days in a person's life. We're in the middle of an economic recession. People are losing their houses, and it's not a happy day. Is that different now? Yeah, it's a lot different in most situations now because people are excited. They're moving into a home of their dreams. But you have the ability to impact a person's life, not situation. So leading up to the move, all the way through the weeks or months that they booked the project in advance, you're really a part of their lives. So you assist them in any way you can, help them get prepared for their day. What are you going to do with your pets, your loved ones that are there? Have you transferred utilities, your services? Have you forwarded your address? What are you doing? So we're almost this like information resource for them so that they can move into the next phase of their life. And so when companies and groups come to you, like one, for example, that sticks out to me was the Glendale Special Victims Unit. So a friend of mine called me she's now a friend of mine from Glendale Special Victims Unit 4 years ago and said, look, we've got victims of domestic violence. I've called 5 other moving companies so far on a monthly basis. Would you guys be willing to donate some moving service so that I can relocate some high risk mothers and children away from, dangerous individuals? I said, sure. I said, absolutely. It's a no brainer. And they could not have been more thrilled. And when you go down to like the Glendale SVU and you now see our plaque on the wall there, which really was touching when I got a chance to see that, but just you have the ability to impact people's lives way more deeply than how much you're doing financially and top line earnings and bottom line revenue and all these different things you get caught up in on a daily basis. And so for us, that's something that we've been built on and we'll continue to believe in. From them to Hope Women's Center, relocating their entire organization so that they could continue to grow. I really believe in what they do. There's a bunch of them, but that's, I think, the junk removal division is, like Jennifer said, we're a donate first organization. So we don't want to see furniture get tossed in the trash. We want to get it to people that can use it.
That's awesome. I love that. Ladies, what about you with Petsmart? Tell us some of the charitable things that are happening on the back end that not everyone knows.
I'll go. So we have a couple of different things. The first one I'd say is Petsmart Charities. What a lot of people don't know is Petsmart Charities actually operates completely independently of Petsmart. They're 501c3. And so it has our name on it because we are a large contributor, but it operates independently. And so through them, they offer millions and millions of dollars in grants, both at the local level and the national level. So people can contribute that, associates and customers can contribute to that on the PIN pad. Associates have the ability to do payroll deductions and things like that to be able to support Petsmart Charities. One of the cool things that I think Petsmart does is just part of our overall nature is as part of a corporate giving campaign, associates can donate a certain percent of their salary as part of a payroll deduction to either Petsmart Charities or our own Associate Assistance Foundation. And based on what you're able to contribute, you actually can earn extra vacation days, which is pretty cool. So it's like a win-win that you're able to directly contribute to a foundation that you're proud of and also be able to celebrate that. And then kind of speaking on that behalf, we do have the Associate Assistance Foundation, and that is something that is 100% sponsored by associates for associates. So associates who are going through traumatic life events such as natural disasters, family emergencies, unexpected medical bills, adoption, human adoption, let me just clarify that, can go ahead and apply for grants. Today, I think we've given over $3 million in grants. And again, that's 100% associate focused. So it's nice to be able to have that support both internally, which is kind of just special just for us. And then externally, we support Petsmart Charities.
But it's neat that you guys, it's an opportunity to kind of tie it together, right? That your employees have that opportunity to really be able to make an impact and give back. So that's a pretty neat opportunity. I love when I hear those stories with companies. So as we get close to the hour, which is amazing to me, that happened so quickly, I have a couple of last questions. So one question I'm going to ask, I want you guys to kind of individually answer. But then I do have a question about how you would describe your entire company culture in one word. So we'll save that. But I want to hear, individually, what is that thing about your company that you really love, that truly makes you think, oh my gosh, yes, tomorrow is the day, I'm going to have work tomorrow. That thing about your company culture that really drives you to be part of that team. I want to hear, what are the different pieces? So Danny, I'm going to start with you.
I think I think it's a couple of different things. I think, like I said, we are very mission focused. And that's one of the things that we all take into account with our specific jobs. Like I said, I'm not recruiting for any company. I am recruiting and marketing to people who will in some way, shape, or form support pets. So whether I'm attracting a store leader who will run a store full of associates who will provide direct care to pets, to finding, someone who is a merchandise buyer and being able to hand select and craft an assortment that will specifically impact pets and pets parents. I think it's so much more than having a job. Every single person in our company has a direct line of impact, which I feel really, really grateful for. It's not just a job, it's an impact.
I love that.
And
Lauren, what about you? And puppies, obviously. That's the honest answer for you guys.
Yeah, by default.
Yeah, I mean puppies, right? No, I mean, listen, seriously, I think my favorite part about PetSmart and its culture and what gets me excited about going into work every day is belonging, right? We talk about culture as that culture ad in the organization. And I think about this really probably quite a bit more than maybe I should or any other person does. But I really believe that we can't give others which we cannot give to ourselves. And so to be able to give that gift of belonging, we need to first be able to feel like we belong ourselves. And when I started out in my professional career, I didn't necessarily know where I belonged, right? I got that first job just to get a job, and I didn't know what I should be doing. And I worked with companies that didn't necessarily align with my personal mission. I probably didn't even know what my own personal mission statement was at that time. But I really started to dig in and do a ton of self-exploration. And through being a facilitator and a leader in learning, telling those stories and being able to impact the learner's experience really helped me myself to open up and be confident, right? And so I was able to finally acknowledge this is who I was and what I stood for. And I found an organization that backed that, right? So I can openly acknowledge to my team, to my leaders, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is how I show up. And what makes PetSmart's culture so great is that they look to all of that. And they looked at me and said, hey, this would be a great addition to our team. And each day I feel like I can give back a little bit because I know where I belong now. So it's what gets me excited about PetSmart.
Rick, but that's so important, especially, nowadays you hear a lot about, the millennials and that they're switching jobs all the time. But really, they're just the ones that have the guts to say, you're not a good fit. I'm going somewhere else. If anything, they're showing us that is important, that you should be working for a company that you feel good about and that your missions align together. So that's awesome. Jennifer, what about you? What's something that you go, can't wait to work tomorrow? It's Monday.
No, I think for me is that we strive to be different, and that I've never been in a position where I feel like it's so okay to fail, and as long as we learn fast. So it allows me to grow as a leader, and I have the support of literally the founders of the organization. I think what I love most about Muscular Moving Men is that I can walk into Justin and Josh's office at any time and be like, I have this idea, or I need this, or we need to do this. And they're like, sure, like, let's do it. And if we fail, then we learned and we'll try something else. And, as we're growing as an organization, it's so nice to have that support and to just be able to go, straight to them and be like, this is what I think, this is what we should do, and just get that okay, because it just makes it so much quicker for us to be able to grow and adapt and take on more opportunities when we have that, communication of me just being able to pick up the phone and call Justin, and I know that he's going to answer. So I think that's one of my favorite parts, especially as a vice president in the organization where I have to make decisions. And when I can just pick up the phone like that, it makes it so much easier to do my job. So that's definitely one of the things that I enjoy. And then also just the relationships I'm able to build within my community. I think that was another thing that really, besides the fitness, was what really drove me to Muscular Movement, that they cared so much about giving back to Phoenix. And I was so new to Phoenix when I started working with Muscular Movement and Storage. And here I am. I feel that I've become the community leader that I've always wanted to become. So it's been really awesome.
You definitely are all over the community and LinkedIn. I do all over the place. That's awesome. Justin, what about you? You're the leader of this whole thing. So what gets you going to get ready for Monday morning?
Well, of course, it's puppies, Kendra. Well, getting paid to work out. I mean, that's obviously the main thing. That's where it all started for us. No, seriously, I think for me, it's just that every day is different. I would just get bored so fast if I showed up and I did the same thing on a day in and day out basis. I literally have not had the same day, I don't think, ever in 12 plus years. That there's been some pretty awful days and nothing has gone right. And a couple of situations that come to mind actually has to do with dogs eventually down the road. I'll have to share that story with you another time. But we've showed up and there was days where we had a competitor wiped out our fleet. We had windshield smashed, tires popped, gas stolen, batteries stolen, calling customers, having to tell them that we can't come move their families, and having crews not be able to work that day. That happened a couple of different times. And yeah, side note, we hired an attack dog service, which brought dogs and guarded our trucks. Most people would get an alarm system or like camera. Decided we would hire like an attack dog service. So
they were young, they were learning.
Yeah.
And were they bigger than your dog?
No, they were the same size as Huey.
It was your dog.
It was your dog.
Got it. Yeah. I can't see. Is that a piece of paper?
So the fact that we're not every day is ever the same, and the fact that I think we're so nimble, we're more like a tugboat, not a cruise liner. We can change directions at a moment's notice. There's not a bunch of red tape that we have to go through it. I mean, frankly, it stops with me and with Josh. And I love the fact that Jennifer and a lot of our team members can come to me with ideas. There are no bad, there are some bad ideas, but there's not, I mean, we will try, anything if it's got promise to it. And we want to be radically different. So we tell people all the time that we empower them to run their departments as if it were their own business. So Jennifer's business is business development. And that's her business, as if she was running her own company. So whether they're in marketing, operations, technology or whatever, you run that as if it were your own. And frankly, if everybody were doing their job, I would read reports on a daily basis and I would know the story of the business. There'd be nothing missing and it would just run. So it's cool to be able to see, what everybody brings to the table and how we've set up. But, those are a couple of things that stick out to me in particular.
That's awesome. I love that. So we are almost out of time, but I love asking my guests if they could, and obviously there's so many pieces that we love about our companies, but if you could wrap the culture into one word or maybe a couple words. Dan, Lauren, can you wrap yours is actually posted behind you, Danny, so that might help, but if you could wrap it all into a few words, can you do that?
Like an actual rap? Like, Danny, do you want me to drop a beat?
You don't have to actually rap. That'll be part 2 of this.
No, please do.
I mean, listen, I rapped at a friend's wedding. I've got skills. That's for another podcast. That's another podcast. But genuinely,
it's that on the books.
Yeah, it is. I think this comes back to our word that we kind of talked about. We collabed earlier and we said authentic. I think we both look at it, authenticity, in a little bit of a different way. And me, I think of when we wrap up the one word authenticity or authentic is being your authentic self, right? Being who you are, bringing your authentic self to work every day, no matter what form that is. And Danny has just a little different take on it, but I'll let her share.
Yeah, I think it's the authenticity behind what we do, and kind of how I mentioned before, if you want a job or you want to work in retail, like, we're probably not the best place for you, because there is something so special and so beyond just being a retailer. And so the authenticity really comes for all of us having a passion for pets. And so whether that's in the home office or in the stores with the birds and the snakes and the fish, whatever the case is, people are authentically passionate about the way that they impact our customers.
Awesome. The perfect word. Jennifer and Justin, if you had to put it all into one word, could you do it?
Go ahead, Jennifer. You got this.
I feel like we may have different views, but for me, the one word that best describes our company is genuinely like we are one big family. And I say this from the sense of our employees come first, and we do whatever it takes to ensure that our employees are well taken care of, to ensure that we can go out and support our community. Because if we don't care about the well-being of our employees, and ensure that they're doing well, health-wise, mentally, especially right now during this time like COVID, we won't succeed as a business. And I think, again, Justin, Josh have done an amazing job of really making sure that we feel that we come first and our safety comes first. And I think that's huge within an organization to succeed.
Family definitely describes it all for me. I think that hit the nail on the head.
Perfect. I think that's a good way to kind of wrap you guys into one. I love that. We are just about out of time. I want to real fast just let people know how they can get in touch with you guys if they need to. Lauren, is there a best way for anybody to reach out or in touch with you?
Yeah, you can definitely do a quick search on LinkedIn, Lauren Givens, G-I-V as in Victor, E-N-S. You can also follow Life at Petsmart on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm stealing some of Danny's sunshine here on ways to stay connected with Danny as well. You know, I'm up in Anthem, like pop on by. I don't know, socially distanced.
I have her personal cell phone number.
Yeah, please don't share that.
Found on www.petsmart.
LinkedIn is probably your best bet if anybody does want to connect. Happy to talk. Very passionate about helping people find their home, forever home.
Awesome. Dan, how about you? Anything for LinkedIn probably still?
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely the best way to go. And I too am happy to connect and chat about culture or anything else with people in the space.
Perfect. Jennifer, how can people touch base with you?
Yep, I'd say LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Love sharing and getting people connected. So Jennifer Villalobos, you can look for me and I will be there, very active. And same, if anybody wants, to connect. And again, I'm very involved with my community. Love to help create intros wherever needed.
Perfect. And Justin, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. LinkedIn, Justin Hodge, Muscular Moving Men.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on today. It was definitely a full house with people, dogs. I'm very impressed. My dog one of my dogs only chimed in once. So I'm pretty proud of them right now. So thank you to the four of you for joining. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening to Culture Crush, the podcast that does a deep dive with company leaders to learn about real life experiences, tips for a good culture, and best practices for creating a healthy work environment where employees can find joy and satisfaction in their work. Whether it's working out in the morning before work and before moving, or whether it's playing with some puppies, there are always different ways to build employees and the joy that they have so that they can be excited about work on Monday. So thank you again. We'll see you guys next time when we crush on more companies and their culture.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Culture Crush, the only podcast out there that does a deep dive of companies that are crushing it with a great company culture. If you think your company has a strong culture that should be highlighted, please reach out to Kendra Maples on LinkedIn or email us at culturecrushpodcast@gmail.com.